I was watching TV yesterday evening and the news came up. I think it was the news I was watching. I'm not sure it was one of those news commercials or some shit. I think it was the news though. And then on there, they're talking about new abortion laws. And based off the caption, it kind of looks like they're trying to X out abortion altogether. Um, I actually think it's a good idea for one, as far as mental health and um, personal experience and how society acts when they know or suspect that you've had an abortion before versus it's not really a good idea because you're taking that option away from the mother once she's in that situation where she's realizing or now knows that she's pregnant. Not everyone uh, is in a good mind state or enjoys getting pregnant or is happy that they're pregnant or even gave consent to even be pregnant. So it's like there's so much drama there with it. So it's like having that option of being able to have an abortion at an early stage in your pregnancy should be your personal decision. Um, I feel like I wish I never knew anything about an abortion. I feel like I wish I was one of those girls that, well, that doesn't that doesn't resonate or that doesn't even apply to me. Um, and when I hear this topic, I get annoyed, I get emotional, I get sad, I get relieved, or uh, depending on what the news update is or whatever. Um, there's so many personal experiences that eventually tie down to an abortion when it comes to me. So I kind of know and can relate to a little bit of every aspect of it, which is crazy to say and admit. I know what it feels like to try to keep it a secret. I know what it feels like to not really talk about it, to have all this emotional drama and mental drama going on with you and playing it cool. Um, I know all the drama bitches that already know or suspect of the way they judge you when they realize that you've been in this lane of mistakes and stuff like that. Um, they feel like they're better than you. They try to hold it against you. They make you want to feel insecure. Um, then you have the religious people that constantly remind you of the sin and the wrong in it and all of that. What's ironic though, I used to live in an area where there was an abortion clinic. Literally after I had an abortion, I moved to a neighborhood where there was an abortion clinic. That was tough. That wasn't easy at all. And it wasn't easy passing by these I'm not sure if they were Jewish. I'm not sure what they were. I think they were Jewish. And they used to stand in front of the fucking abortion clinic with their little posters and their little messages and their little pamphlets and shit like that. And I bet you those bitches don't even hold down a fucking daycare center. So they up there thirsty as fuck talking about this is a sin and don't do this, don't go in here. Bitch, what you know about what goes on in here? Why are you standing right here? You know? Mind your fucking business. And it's just like, what's funny is I never even went in there, but I used to pass by there, and it's like, eventually I used to get so annoyed that I used to go around the block. Like, I used to go around behind the block. And Literally, where these bitches be at, it's you would think it's the front entrance, and it probably was, but around the block, it's a back entrance. So that shit was annoying too. The only thing is around the back entrance, because I had to pass by there to get to my building. You didn't see all that commotion. You didn't see all that drama. So in a way, it kind of helped me because as I'm going around, I started noticing the Chinese spot. Hey, they cook really good here. Thank you. I don't have to be annoyed by you. So sometimes it's like take a hint. Um, Sometimes I used to go through a whole lot of judgment just because people thought I was younger than what I really was. And so eventually it's like, this is not even bad. Like ignoring you is not even bad. That's when I fell in love with that Chinese spot over there. There's the deli store right there. So I would get my little lunch. Sometimes I wouldn't eat at school, or sometimes that would be dinner. Um, and so yeah. So I walk around the block. Nobody, no flyers, no posters, no nothing. So I could just get home in peace. Um, and in the morning when it was time to go to school, I was in high school by then. So when I was going to school, I took another route. Like I would not take that route. I took another route. And I usually walk to school. So um, but it was sometimes like if I uh took the bus, and got off at the bus stop, I would have to get off there and eventually decide whether I walk the main strip or walk behind the fucking main strip. And eventually I just got used to walking to distract my mind and not get fat and all types of shit. But when I see these politicians updating these kind of laws, these kind of sensitive ass laws, they need to also be on top of the crimes that have ties to these fucking laws. Um, a lot of knowledge needs to still be given to these young girls, and I was one of those girls. So, and even grown women today, their husbands fuck up, they get raped, um they're dating, they forget their birth control type shit. All types of shit can be happening to where now you're at the state of pregnancy, and you might not really want to have that baby. You might not really want to go through that pregnancy. Unfortunately, that's just how it is in society. And a lot of these bitches that judge bitches already went through that. They don't give a fuck. They're not emotionally tied to that mistake or that whatever you want to call it, like others are. I even went through that. Like I had a whole bunch of bitches that been had abortions, 8, 9, almost 10 of them, and judging me off my one little abortion. So it's like, bitch, get it together. Mind your business. Take care of your pussy, and stop irking this way, okay? Because I used to take that shit to heart. Like I was really young. It was really a mistake, and it was something that at times I thought saved my life, and at times I that shit really was heavy on my conscience. So it bothered bitches that I really cared so much. It bothered bitches that I just wasn't up and leaving and doing whatever. It bothered bitches that it was just one. So it's like it's crazy. It's just crazy, and I just thought that even with the partners, like some bitches, they go get their abortion, don't even tell they nigga, don't even tell they baby daddy, for what? And I'm like, you know, if a friend came to me and was like, yo, I'm going through this situation, what should I do? Honestly, I'm leaving that decision to you because I'm just as clueless. I don't know. If you decide to keep the baby, I can be supportive as much as I can. And if you decide to cancel that shit, I can be supportive there as well. So it's really up to you. I'm not going to tell you, yes, go get that. No, it's really a mental thing. It's really an emotional thing. It also is a physical thing, I cannot tell you what to do in that situation. And I can kind of run down on my own personal experience with you, but it's like at the end of the day, this is your body, this is your decision, this is all on you. So it's sad. It really is. But it depends on how you look at it too. So um I know bitches that done had abortions later than I did, and I feel away. And I don't want to feel away. I feel like that's still your decision. You got to worry about your health. You got to worry about all this extra shit. And it's like, I cannot put that on me because it's not me. It's not my body. It's not my baby. That's all you. And so it depends on how you look at it. I don't know why to this day it's hard for grown people to acknowledge that, yes, we have to praise a fucking condom. Yes. We have to praise fucking birth control. Yes. We have to praise these vaccinations. Yes. We have to stay on top of our health in a split moment, in the heat of the moment. Your whole shit could change. And I wish someone was on top of me about that back then, other than my parents. Sometimes you don't want to hear all that from them. Sometimes you want to hear it from someone who can relate to you, someone who knows you, someone who's with you during those hours that your parents are not. Like a friend, a school friend, a friend on the block, someone that you can talk to. I had that. I just didn't trust that. So as far as my personal experience, it changed me. I felt bad for years. It depressed me. I felt like shit for years and all types of shit. But eventually, as I became a mother, I realized, yo, this is sad. Because I loved being a mother so much that it overrided that depression that I had once. I really used to pray to God that He forgives me for this shit that I did, this decision that I made. And I'm not gonna drag it because then I'm gonna get emotional. But it really is sad. And I'm reminded every time I'm with my kids or I end up pregnant. So it's abortion is really a tough topic. And I used to take it hard when a bitch used to tell me, well, I had a couple of them, or I had eight of them, or I had, just even expressing a number other than one. Like, bitch, what? Um, it was very sad for me. I went to this clinic in Manhattan, up in New York, and it's also like where you can get like OBGYN and stuff like that. So it was really a mixy clinic. Even during my college life, when I was commuting to school, it was tough on me. When the train would pass by that that avenue or whatever, it was very tough on me. I felt like everyone on the train was staring at me. Like, that's how crazy it was for me. But and that was years ago. So that shit always held on my conscience, and I feel like others can feel that. But anyway, I went to this clinic, and I was accompanied, but eventually I had to go in by myself. And so I had to fill out some paperwork. I felt like um that video with Taraji P. I can't remember if it was Testify or another video, but I know she was like in a medical room and was thinking about going through something like that, but then decided to leave. Something like that. I felt like that, but um I signed and I went through with it. I didn't know what the fuck I was getting into. I just knew that I was very young. I knew that this would affect my family. I knew that, I didn't know what I would be doing. I didn't know what how my life was going to turn if I decided to go through with the whole pregnancy. I didn't know. I was very naive. I didn't it's like, wow. But even then, I wish I had that little gut feeling that be like, fuck this, shred this, bye. But I stayed. So that was always a regret that I did have with me. Always, always, always. I always wondered, what if, what if. And I went through with it. They called my name. I had to change into like a gown, I think. They gave me some kind of pills and shit like that. I think that is why I hate taking pills. They gave me some kind of pills and I took it without even questioning or overthinking. I took it and I went into this room. I was laying down. There was a male doctor and a female nurse. And then I had like an IV where the anesthesia was going through, and I'm like looking at the ceiling, and all I could remember was the lights and my eyes just like closing. Next thing I remember, I'm sitting down in the waiting area with my gown. A nurse comes to me with more pills, and I'm looking around like, because I do remember laying down looking at the light, and my eyes is like, going to sleep. But the fact that someone picked me up and moved me into a chair, most likely a wheelchair, and sat me in this chair, it was like I didn't feel none of that. I wasn't aware of none of that. So it was very crazy for me. I started crying because I realized, wow, the anesthesia was really working. The anesthesia was really strong. And I started crying, and I just couldn't believe I went through with it. I didn't know. It's just a crazy. I don't wish that experience on anybody. Um, you kind of have to have been warned about that before even going through that. That way, you can avoid crying and being spooked or whatever. Um, I didn't even know what to expect. I figured, if I woke up that I'll be in that same room, the doctors would explain what just happened and stuff like that. I didn't think that I would be moved outside the room into a waiting area and stuff like that. So that was a little weird for me. It reminded me that anything could have happened to me. Um, and I just was not with it. And um, next thing I know, I was told that after the procedure I would be on my period and stuff like that, and I was. I ended up going to the bathroom. They gave me, I think, pads or some shit, and I was able to put my clothes back on, and I went back out, and I saw my mother. We left. Um, and my baby daddy was there. For years, I also felt sorry for my mother because, she was the one that accompanied me. Um, for years, I feel like, this shouldn't have been a burden on her. I did feel bad for years, and I still do. I feel like that's nothing a mother should be going through with her daughter, but I understood that she was being supportive. Um, and that was very tough on her for years, and I didn't know what to do with myself because I felt like that shit. It should have been her. I feel like it should have been one of my little ratchet friends or some shit. It should have never been her. I feel like that hurted her. And I didn't mean to hurt her. I didn't mean for any of that to happen. So it just reminds me today as an adult that you got to be mindful of the decisions that you make. Um, my relationship with my first boyfriend, it was very naive. Like, I thought that because he was an older dude, that I needed to be, losing my virginity to him and making it a real relationship and whatnot. Like, I felt insecure because I felt like me as a virgin, um, needed to be giving my goodies to him. And for what? He's a clown. He was a clown. Um, but it was that he was older than me, and I felt like I don't know what he went through with his previous exes, and I felt like I needed to top that. And that's not a real sane thought to have, because then it feels like peer pressure. It feels like you have to do it. And today, with all the experience that I do have, I just be like, wow, I can't believe I was that little naive. I can't believe, oh my God, my ID expires tomorrow. My New York ID expires tomorrow. But yeah, it's just not cool. And so when I hear these bitches talking about, oh, let me continue. So I think I'll leave that other part for a different video if I haven't mentioned it in the other videos. But I realized that nigga's a douche. He got to the location with the, I guess he tried to make it look like he was really supporting me, when in reality he just didn't want to have a kid. We were young, we were broke, and he figured, he needed to be there to make sure that I was getting it done. That's the kind of vibe I got. After we left the clinic, we hopped on a train, and eventually he got off a couple stops before, I can't remember exactly where he got off, but he got off somewhere in Manhattan or something. Way before his stop and my stop. So I was just annoyed by that, because I'm like, where are you going? Um, After that, I barely heard from him. He barely wanted to pick up the phone. He barely wanted to. It's like we broke up as well. So um, sometimes I would leave messages with his sister or his father or something, or on the machine or whatever, and never get a call back. After that, I felt very alone. I felt very confused. I felt very depressed. I felt very lonely. I felt very sad. Um, and this was prior to me starting my high school experience. So all that excitement about me entering high school and stuff kind of just died down. Um, and I felt like it was his fault. He was already a high school student, so I felt like I was robbed that real high school experience. Once I got to high school and I met a couple friends, shit changed. But honestly, before that, he was a clown. And once he realized that now there is less depression, I'm feeling myself, I'm being social and all types of shit. That's when he tried to come back into my life. And by then I was already dating my freshman boyfriend. My nigga, who are you? Like, what are you on my line for? Like, by then it was like, nah, never. And he tried to break it down, like, I'm going through this too, like, it's just not you, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, you know what? No. And I realized then that he just needed to stay in the past. That was too much hurt for me to go through. Like, my whole life changed. I had to move. I got kicked out. I ended up in a shelter system, and all that back and forth. It was uncalled for. It was like, it was unnecessary. It was so unnecessary, because I was a little girl, um, dabbling into older girls drama. I didn't need to be that kind of girl. I was never really a fast girl. I didn't need that on my like weighing over my head type shit. Um, so I kind of, as an adult, like, like who the fuck watches the news, right? So you just watch the news, and they come up with shit like this, and it's just like, damn, like, you low key be reminiscing, like they didn't hit home, like, whoo, this is about you type shit, and it's just like, damn, what could they possibly be updating in the fucking abortion law, And I just really was thinking about that, like, damn, like I didn't even know about the fucking abortion law when I got my abortion, so it's like, wow, it's you can tell that it's like times have passed. And that's just what I felt when I saw that headline, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna make a video, um because unfortunately it was around the same time a few years ago, And so for a minute, I took that very, very hard when it came down to celebrating my birthday and wanting to live. Because for a minute, I felt very, 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 very dead. Very, very dead. Um, and eventually, thanks to my kids, they kind of gave me life. So a lot of times, when I think about their birthdays and shit like that, I want to celebrate, make sure they good. Um, Make sure that they never feel like they regret their birthdays, because they are very, very special to me. So, with all the drama that's going on with their father and not letting me see them and manipulating communication time and shit like that, it affects me. Um, and like I said earlier, even with bitches that don't tell their baby daddy or their kid's father, hey, I got an abortion today. I understand. Like, even with your new partner, I feel like you should never kind of you should never even have to tell them what you've been through. But when it comes down to family planning, all this shit comes back up. They want to know your blood type. They want to know your partner's blood type. They want to know what medical conditions is in the family, all types of shit. So this might be when a conversation like this pops up, and that's just crazy. So eventually you kind of got to pick and choose who you vent to, um, what you vent about, because a lot of times when shit is hitting rocky, they can tend to bring that shit back up just to spite you, just to hurt you, and that has happened to me. Even with my parents, with my partners, and stuff like that. But it's something that I already told myself, never feel bad. You have to do what you got to do, even when I came into contact with that dude again. This is something that we always discuss, like always. Every time we end up talking with each other again, it's something we always kind of touch back bases on, and it's like the thing that ties us. So it just brings back um the thing about soul ties. So you also have to think about that. A lot of bitches, they think that because they go get themselves an abortion, they no longer have to do with the dude, or they use that and ignore the dude. This might be the dude that really gave a fuck. This might be the dude that really wanted a baby, and bitches could be spiteful. So a lot of times it just depends on the situation. Um, and it really is a mental thing. So be careful playing with people's mental. Be careful with playing with people's emotions. Um, there was times where I was so ready to move on to the next relationship or to the next guy or whatever. This is like when my sexuality started kicking in and shit like that. And I was very confused for a minute. I just knew that I had a picture in mind as far as my relationship goes. I know that one day I want to get married, one day I'm gonna have kids. All that still stayed. Uh, but after that, I was being done grimy. I got kicked out. I had to move. I couldn't remember my stuff anymore. I actually lost my stuff during the move. It felt like I had to reinvent myself, like I was someone new, like that old life is just the old life, it's bad for you, this, that, and the third. And it's just like it's not something I wish a girl to go through. Um and I felt like I had all these friends that I could have really spoke to about it, but because of their religious background, I just chose not to. I didn't want to be a disturbance, and I didn't want to be a burden. There was times where I wanted to run away. There was times when, I didn't want to be home. And all of that. And I just felt really like manipulated. I felt really like I had strings attached to me and they was just like, playing with me. And again, that's ugly ass feeling to feel. Um, so when they say abortion laws, it's not nothing really to get hype about. You just kind of want to know, is this allowed in your city? Is this allowed in your state? What can happen to you if you do get pregnant and choose not to have the baby? You might have to travel. Um, So thank God I didn't have to go through none of that. I am from New York, and New York is very versatile. Doesn't mean that, you have to be wilding out and do all types of dumb shit just because New York can forgive you or can mend it or modify it or whatever the fuck. It's like, don't overly abuse the freedom in New York. Um, and it's just like, wow. Once you go through certain types of experiences and you learn from them and you grieve them and you move on from them and stuff like that, you look back like, damn, who's going through this now? Like, wow. Hopefully my messages and my advice hits home to certain people. And even sometimes me, I gotta take my own advice as far as protection and knowledge and staying updated with all types of shit. Thank God for coronavirus. I was telling my man just yesterday or the day before, because after coronavirus, I started really going to the clinics more and staying on top of my health. So because I was with my kid's father for long periods of time, I felt like I could trust him. I felt like he would never backstab me and go do bitches raw and come back to me with some shit. Um, and sometimes I felt guilty if I slipped. Like sometimes I felt guilty if I was with this partner and maybe we was together for a while, but you know like when I was with that girl, obviously we'll have to use condoms, but we wasn't using like those plastic thingies during oral sex and shit like that. And then I broke up with her and got back with him. So it's like, um, I'm pretty sure I went to the clinic, but it's not like specific time frames from how after coronavirus. Like after coronavirus, I remember all of my appointments type shit. Um, but it's just like a perfect example of how if I was going through that, he must have definitely been going through that and probably not even feeling guilty about it. So it's just sad that even if, like, I feel like there's no justifying cheaters or justifying people that constantly move on within like people. But I feel like if that's your lifestyle, please go get tested. Like they usually say, if that's kind of your lifestyle, you might want to get tested every 2, 3 months. If you're with the same person, you might want to get tested every 6 months or some shit, or every year. And with him, I felt like we had that understanding that we would never be giving each other any diseases and infections and shit like that. But literally after my last encounter with him in 2021, I got sick. Something was wrong with my pussy, like, and that's unforgiving. So whether I knew he had a bitch pregnant or not, that we was just never gonna get back together, ever, ever. Um, so God works in mysterious ways. He didn't let that shit be the reason. The only reason why we didn't get back together, he made sure there was more to the story. He made sure that yeah, he made sure there was more to the story. He made sure that I realized, yo, something else could happen. This is the person I never thought would let this happen. Something happened. Now, because he is the longest person I've been with, like, does that sound right? He is the person I've been with for the longest. My pussy probably reacted because there was lies involved, probably not even the same drug involved, like, all types of changes. And so my pussy is her antennas is like, you know, it could have been that, or it could have been that he not even updated with his own medical, and now there's something wrong with me. I gotta go get checked. I gotta go, and it's like, why? I feel like if we wasn't even together and we just kind of entertained a booty call, you should have told me you got your girl. You got a girl. She's more than a girl. She's about to be a baby mother. All this extra shit. And I didn't know that. What I did notice is we were smoking blunts. We were fucking in a fucking motel room, right? I'm just being blunt. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It is what it is. I met up with him from that December of 2020 up until, well, December 2020 he started coming to me, but I started coming to him from February to March. So February, I think we saw each other once or twice. Most likely for Valentine's Day. And then March, we saw each other for his birthday. So it was a little after his birthday. March 6th, if I'm not mistaken. February 14th, March 6th. March 6th. So after March 6th, I'm starting to get sick. Can't remember exactly what day my pussy started looking and acting and smelling funky and weird. But it was definitely after March 6th, probably towards the end, beginning of April. So by the time my birthday pull up, I'm sick. I can't go meet you. I can't go smoke my blunts with you. Something wrong with my pussy. What the fuck? And I still was like, I didn't want to think it was him. And I'm texting him like, yo, I cannot, this, that, something's wrong, like blah blah blah. And I didn't even know how to word it. I'm just like, because I didn't know that it was him, but all the proof goes back to him. Um, and then I wanted to think, well, maybe it's the building, because in my bathroom I had a whole ceiling situation. Maybe I caught bacteria, That is still where I shower and wash my pussy and brush my teeth and stuff like that. And above the ceiling, I had a leak from prior to COVID, but because of COVID, the superintendent couldn't fix it because he wasn't allowed to go into the units. All types of shit was happening. I'm like, what the fuck? But never did I think it was my kid's father, because I always thought he was squeaky clean. Um, because of him, I used to just shave my pussy bald and make sure that I never go through something like that. Ever. Ever. And then 2021 happened. And I thank God every day, because it's like, that was a real, you talk about wake up calls, that was a real fucking wake up call. And I felt like my mother. I felt like my mother. I don't want to go too hard on this video, because this video was meant to be about these laws and whatnot. But I'm also talking about soul ties. And so it just brought back my mom. I don't want to put her on blast. I don't want to put her such, but we're so past it that it's like we could discuss it. I'm sorry. Um, my dad, he stepped out on my mother during their marriage with one of her little friends, one of her little ratchet ass friends, and had a baby, my youngest sister. But sometime throughout that, I'm not sure if it was before or after, he did catch gonorrhea. So it's just one of those where, your parents is arguing and you don't know what the fuck they arguing about up until you're getting older and your mother's telling you stories and shit like that, and you're just like, what? Um, so yeah. Unfortunately, it's just one of those, like, I also believe if you're married, you step out, please protect yourself. I feel like I would be one of those wives where I'm telling you, if you even step out on me, you better put some shit on. You better go get checked. Don't pass that shit to me. And he failed. I always treated him like that. He failed. So I feel like that's the inconvenience. How you go? First of all, you step out on the fucking marriage, right? Two, you fucking one of my ratchet friends, and three, she gave you something or you gave her something. We want to believe she gave you something, because I'm pretty sure you wasn't the only one fucking her. She gave you something. Then mama forgave you and still fucked you. Thank God you didn't give nothing to her. Or if you did, I just never heard that part. And it's just like, wow. And all of this knowing you got a daughter. You don't give a fuck about how she look at you, if all this affects her down the line. Nah. And so that's how I felt when I felt like my kid's father gave me something, and when I was able to know he has a child and it's a girl, can you imagine how my mother felt when one thing is, you fucked the bitch, but then you got her pregnant? What? And it's a girl? Like, I never want that feeling ever again. Ever, ever again, ever. And can you believe I'm the fast one in our relationship? I think. And so you got pregnant before me. Like, I feel like had I met someone worth a relationship and all of that, I would have got pregnant. I probably would have got pregnant. But I was really on some. Now I'm focusing on me. Fuck all that. Like, nah. Up until I met Bay, focusing on me is still a mod. It's still a goal, but I'm pregnant. But it's just like during that time we were still fucking, and so up from March 2021 up until like September or October of 2021 when I found out that he moved and he moved with my kids. I'm assuming, oh, he got his own shit now. Cool. Low key in my head, I'm like, well, thank God we don't got to do motels anymore and whatnot. Then my kids start telling me, oh, daddy's friend, and I'm asking, like, I'm being curious, like, who be with y'all if your dad got, the same work schedule? Who be with y'all when he at work type shit? And oh, his friend, and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. Eventually, I'm getting mad. Like, I need to know who my kids is around. One thing is that they're around your parents and your brother and your family, but now you done moved out the city. Who the fuck I'm stay? Who's staying with my kids? And so, um, we still have court, I think, going on at this time, or I had to submit a petition or some shit because I found out no, that was still the year before. Almost like a pasó. I know I was granted visit sometime in May of 2022. Right, so this is still before I'm able to see my kids and shit like that. Um, yeah. So after he moved, that's when I submitted my petition. For the first time and stuff like that. Cause now it's different. It's feeling different. They not in the same city as me and whatnot. So now it's like really getting serious. So that's when I submitted my petition and that kind of stuff. And that was towards the end of 2021. So I'm just saying I was never the spiteful one. Um, I forgave him, he played me still. There's no reason why you gotta bring your fucking baby mother to a fucking motel room for Valentine's Day. Right? So, now she don't mind coming to see you for your birthday week, not even a hotel, but a motel. Um, but for Valentine's Day, there was no, so this is also testing period for me. This was me trying to see if he was worth another try. if we should forgive each other. We knew we needed to forgive each other, but if this is really us forgiving each other, all types of shit. And um spent cab money, um going to see him just to do the same shit. But this time I made sure I look cute. I made sure that if he is sorry, that he feels, that he really feels it, that, I don't know if any of that was working. And yeah, this is still me. I'm good, and I look cuter than when you had me. All types of shit. I tried all of that, but there was many silent treatments going on. Um, we would smoke. It would still be silent. There was nothing coming out. Literally, like no conversation. Um, we kind of used to just let intimacy do its thing, and I was getting frustrated low key, but I couldn't show him because I wanted to give him time enough to express himself and let me know something, but he just didn't tell me anything. And because I know him so well, I remember I was getting up to go to the bathroom and he's just looking weird at the wall or at the mirror or whatever the fuck. And I'm just like, that don't even look right. Like, I don't know if he was high or whatever, but I'm just like, that looked like a guilty version of you. So I'm just like, oh, there's a girl involved, you know? But I didn't think nothing too, like, I didn't think a pregnant broad. Nah, never. A bitch, this is kind of the silent vibe where you want to start checking phones and all types of shit, but you playing cool, like, yeah, whatever, you know? It hurt me that I know he's not even inviting me back to his mother's crib so I could see my kids or so I could spend the night, like we've previously done. But it's like, okay, cool. They want to play me. I'm going back home. And that's just how it went. So basically, the following year, and then even towards the end of that year, I'm getting weird text messages from his bitch, and all types of shit. And so the following year, when I was granted visits, and I ended up going to his city and stuff like that, that's when I realized, oh, he has a kid. He has a kid. That hurt me, but not as much as I thought it would have, because we're no longer in the same space. I mean, we were broken up. We were still doing each other, entertaining booty calls and shit like that, but we wasn't together. It had we been together, it would have hurt me to the core. But because I know we were separated, we wasn't together, we were broken up, he was allowed to go do him. It was a shocker because I didn't think that he would get another bitch pregnant. You in your whole situation, you still in your mother's crib. Like, how you not in your own? And then I'm confused. Maybe it is his house. Maybe it's, I don't know. I could care less. I don't know. But not once did my sons admit to me that they were gonna be brothers and sisters. Just like I don't know if they admitted um to their grandparents or anything like that. Mama's pregnant or whatever. Um, but even if, I just feel like the manipulation and the way my kids are being raised through him is just not what I see fit. But like I decided to let that happen. Like I decided to have them be raised by him. So these are just basically my whole point of this video is like these are decisions that sometimes laws can't even really cover you on. Um, they can kind of give you knowledge on what the most updated shit is for your situation, whether it relates to the law or not. Um, and a lot of it is based off of my mistakes. So, for example, when I was younger, I decided to lose my virginity to this bozo. That didn't work out. I went through a traumatic experience, a life-changing experience. I dealt with depression. I didn't know myself for a minute. Um, I didn't trust people for a while, and I still don't. Um, I kind of just used high school as a distract me from whatever is going on at home. A place to be. I was a good student for the most part, but towards high school, towards the end of high school, I couldn't really concentrate. By then, I was with my kid's father, and I got pregnant senior year, so I really couldn't concentrate. Uh, my anemia was acting up. I didn't feel up to it as far as waking up, going to school every day. I didn't have that motivation for my best friends anymore. Um, I felt like my best friends was judging me during that time instead of supporting me more. Um, Everybody was already on there to each his own type of vibe, so I kind of, uh, kind of like, how can I say it? I kind of like stepped back real quick, and I didn't like a lot of the shit that was going on up until we had our baby shower, and shit was getting real. My baby was born, blah blah blah. But and even with my second son, by then I was already working. So everything was different. I didn't give two fucks what anybody said. I didn't have a GD yet. I didn't finish school, but I was happy that I was working and bringing some income home, getting what I needed to get for my kids, being able to travel, not really depending on him, being primary income and stuff like that. So it's just like a lot. But it's just basically off of the decisions I've made as well. It's not just his, it's not just him. It was off of decisions I've made, the people I've been with, the people I've dealt with, the people I let in versus the people I ignore and block and all types of shit. So it's like you make big ass decisions like this and you kind of gotta remember there are always circumstances and life changing uh drama. So as far as soul ties, I can't say one soul tie is better than the other. I feel like they're all annoying. I feel like that's what people kind of um talk about when it comes to like making these types of mistakes and committing these types of sins and all types of shit. There will be a soul tie. Once you lose a part of yourself with someone or to someone, it's like a soul tie. And so I pray those soul ties are not non-existent. Um, and don't trigger my mental health anymore as much as they have already. I when I say let go and move on, I mean let go and move on. Um, the only difference with the soul tie from before is the A word versus actual physical kids involved. So, um, I'm not too jolly about me having a third experience as far as kids go and pregnancies and stuff like that, but it is what it is. And hopefully he is the person that's supposed to be for me. He does become my husband. Um, he doesn't have me go through anything that I've already went through with my kid's father and my past or anything like that. I strongly want to believe that, but at the same time, I do have some concerns, like I've mentioned in my previous videos. And I am one of those people that when I was younger, I was told I hold many grudges, but I can't lie. I am one of those people that once you do me wrong and dirty, I kind of hold that up here and remember. And so sometimes my guard will go up. Sometimes I'm not easily forgiving as I used to be. And sometimes I will let you know I don't mind knowing that. I don't mind um still acting like that or whatever. That's also when I'm being called a bitch and whatnot. But it's like if I was already nice to you, if I was already sweet to you, why fuck that up with a lie? Why fuck that up with a what they call it? By backstabbing me or whatnot. Um Once you challenge my trust for you, it's very difficult for me to treat you how I used to treat you when I did trust you 100%. Whether that's about my documents, about my items, about my things. Um, because at the end of the day, like I said, I've went through so much that when it's for me, it's for me. And if I decide not to share that with you, then you need to respect that and leave my things alone. Leave me alone. Um, and people think that I'm so dwelling on material, but I that's exactly how I feel about my kids. And I just don't need to be changing that. I don't have no regrets in acting like that. I don't have no regrets in being like that. It's like if you don't like how I am, if you don't like how I'm acting, bye. The only difference here is that I am not in my own crib. This is his crib and all types of shit, like I mentioned in my other video. But all that is good. Like none of that scares me. I've been through it before. I'm not. Once I'm in a safe and stable spot, I'm good. But once I feel like it's not anymore, I do need to move on. Um, so I kind of will research these laws just for future references and stuff like that, as well as other laws that relate to my situation. Because you also have to realize, with someone that has been through certain stuff like that, you have to realize what state and what city is safe for you to be at. Um, a lot of times medical treats you kind of crazy based off of your records and what they reading off of you. Instead of just saying, I choose not to work with you, they might treat you a little different, a little weird, a little obvious to where something about you is bothering them or something like that. And it's just uncomfortable. And I don't know why people choose to make shit uncomfortable instead of just Xing out. Um, I think my next video is gonna be on your value, like your speaking of people's like your value, making sure that no matter what the fuck is going on with you, no matter what mistakes, no matter what you've been through, always value your value. Don't let motherfuckers devalue you. Don't let motherfuckers act like this is what you deserve. If you know damn well you deserve better. Um And that's exactly what's been going on. Even with my first boyfriend, when he keeps tabs on me, or when I keep tabs on him, I genuinely wish nothing but the best for him. I'm not sure if he genuinely wishes the same on me. I know I can feel sometimes jealousy and pettiness and shit like that, and it's very uncomfortable. Just the same with my kid's father. These men sometimes they don't want you to live in peace and live happily. They always want you to think about them and talk about them and shit like that. And that's so overrated. I feel like you, as a woman, as a female, have the right and the power to take control over your pussy and how your pussy acts and reacts and all types of shit. And so I think that's my whole point of the fucking video. Make sure you get tested for yourself, not even for your partner, for yourself, for your own sanity. And then make sure you get tested after fucking a new partner. So eventually I was being stubborn with this pregnancy. I didn't want to go to the doctor until I gave labor because I felt like, I was trying to battle out all these negative thoughts that I was having about my new partner. And I felt like, if anything, then I wanted the doctors to tell me at the end of my pregnancy, that's when I need to decide if I'm going to continue having a pregnancy or not. But then I realized these tests take time. These results, they take time. So why the fuck would I wait towards the end of my pregnancy to get tested? And, but because of that 2 month period time of healing and stuff like that, he's not going to get none. Um, until these results come in. That's how I was looking at it. But thank God I went earlier. I got tested and stuff like that. I wish that they did show all the tests for all STIs and STDs. They only chose to show certain ones. So hopefully when I do go back, I can express that to the doctors and see what's up. But I think that's the end of this video. Literally, it's making an hour. Um, which is cool. But my next video should be about values, and then I want to make another one about these undercover messy ass industry folks that are coming out liking the same sex all of a sudden, and sadly because they're on drugs. Um, and then a little more on tax fraud and scammers and shit like that for this season, in the year. So yeah. um, and then I gotta think about what other topics I want to do. If I do decide to put on my wig, I'll come back and show you guys. If I decide to do my braids, I'll come back and show you guys.